and our boat has drifted off. So let's get back in. The Polar Assist vessel launched their little support vehicle. Came out and helped me clear the kelp off the anchor. Now let's bring them back in. I think it's the kelp just follows the anchor and then it doesn't hold, or the anchor doesn't go deep enough through it. I'm going to be using my anchor alarm app from now on. So it looks like we're going to be stuck here for a few more days waiting for the weather to get better for leaving. It's funny because everybody here is also stuck because they canceled all the flights out for some airline strikes. So we're all stuck in Longyearbyen together. So I'm just going to kind of wander around town. I need to get off the boat. We decided to keep the boat on anchor because it's a lot, well, it's free versus paying $50 a night on shore. This is an old mine. I'm going to hike up to this plateau. Just need to get off the boat and get some exercise. There's a bunch of satellite dishes and stuff, weather instruments up here, I think. So I was kindly escorted off the road. I've been told this was not really supposed to be up here, and I should have a rifle, which I don't. But I think there's a trail to get down, so we'll be going down a different way. This is really cool. This is like the biggest satellite ground station in the world because it's so close to the North Pole. And there are like hundreds of these satellite antenna dishes things or something up here. Pretty cool. But yeah, this is the plateau. Kind of remote. I hope I don't see a polar bear. It's a clear day, so it's coming. There's remains of some scientific equipment. Looks kind of cool. I wonder if a bear got it. So no polar bear sightings, fortunately. And now I just gotta figure out how to get back into town. It's like somewhere down there. Just I think I need a paraglider to get down from. So I think I found the way. Found this little creek that kind of cuts down, so I don't have to scramble down that steep cliff. This ship is named Scenic Eclipse because it eclipses any scenery it goes by. Well, we were going to leave today, but the batteries are all dead. So this is a new development. Turns out the starter battery had died and it brought all the other batteries down with it. But Ed found the old generator battery, so we're going to use that to fix it.
For your axe.
The joys of anchoring in Longyearbyen. We're leaving Longyearbyen and Svalbard and heading back to the mainland of Norway. I think Tromsø will be our destination, and maybe we'll see some wildlife on the way out. I've heard there's whales or walruses, so we're gonna keep our eyes open. So 30 minutes in and we got all our sails up and motors off. We've been delaying our trip for like the past 5 or 6 days to wait for better winds, so seems like it might be paying off so far. Looks like easterly winds becoming northeasterly over the next few days. Looks perfect, really. And about 500 or 600 miles to go. Outdoor's catching up with us, but I think they're motoring. Can't quite see yet. So the wind's been holding up pretty good. It's been kind of going between 10 and 20 knots. The autopilot's really drive me crazy. This thing is more frustrating than getting the wind vane fine-tuned. I don't know what the deal is. It just doesn't like to stay on course. It could be the magnet interference, or I think it's just an old autopilot. That was a good wave. Oh man. It's day 2 of the passage. Winds have picked up to 25 knots, gusting to 30, and it's starting raining pretty good. It's all or nothing out here. We were motoring for hours before this. I'm just gonna stay down here. Stuff's been kind of getting wet too. Day 4 of the passage. Yesterday, the last couple of days, I've just been kind of doing a lot of sleeping. Been pretty boring. Made a motor a lot the last 24 hours, but now we got some good wind. We're going downwind at least. We were beaten to windward for a lot of day number 2. I'm just ready to be there. Like, we're just going back, basically, back where we came from, so it's not super exciting. I got a flight out of Tromsø. I think I'll make the flight. It's kind of risky to buy a flight in advance on a passage, but looks like we'll make it there okay. But I got my mind on getting back to my own boat soon. It'd be nice to be able to have at least a little bit of darkness down in the south part of Sweden. It's just kind of 24 hours of daylight up here. Somewhere in there's something's leaking. See the bridge for Tromsø up ahead. I think we're less than 2 hours away. Excited to be back. My flight, the SAS is still on strike, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to get back to my boat yet. So, once we do get there. I figure we ought to do a boat tour, so it's always fun to see different people's boats and how they've got it set up. So let's start at the back here. We got way off the back these solar panels.
660 watts. Never quite got a full 660, but they're about 500 sometimes. They work great, keep the batteries.
Yeah, I read that it's like what they're rated for is what they should never exceed.
Yeah,
that's the way you can size your.
I just haven't been in the
charger for. Yeah, it's hard to get. That's pretty good for. Get that high with them. And then the dinghy. How do you like these dinghy davits?
They're great. They're it stops me from having a wind vane or pilot, but it's very handy to be able to just launch a dinghy quickly. Especially with the engines on, they're in 2 or 3 minutes. And it stops you from just tying it on in the evenings that could be either stolen or drifted away. So it's good for that.
Yeah, it's very nice when you're like just cruising short distances and dropping the dinghy every night. I like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I used it. What else we got back here? Grill.
Oh, barbecue, very important. Not great up here, but in nicer places it's quite useful.
And then the life raft.
Life raft.
Guess we've never used that.
No, thankfully. I hope it works. 2 life buoys. Bag for diving gear like masks and things.
Oh, I did the same thing on my boat. Yeah. Just to let it dry out. It always,
Man overboard kit. And also an emergency ladder. Because if you fall in, you can't get back on. That ladder won't go down with the dinghy up. So there's a little pull tab that you pull and
that's cool.
webbing ladder drops down.
Is this the emergency?
That's you open that in emergency privilege in there. And it's quite hard to steer. It's a lot of force, but possible.
You got some nice big compartments for your backline and stuff in there?
A bit of a mess at the moment.
That's right.
That works.
Yeah, and then the autopilot
is under everything, which is what we had to strip.
Oh, yeah, and this is the shaft for that.
That's the rudder shaft, yeah.
Cool.
That's another entrance into the cabin, which is.
And an interesting thing we're realizing, which I guess you've run into it a lot already, the propane and every different country seems to have a different
connections for
connection and adapter.
Always different.
There's not really a good solution for that.
Unless you have every connection for all the countries.
But then still, when you go there, sometimes they won't fill it. They'll only
you have
swap
to buy
the bottle, so you might
a
have
new
to buy
bottle each time. Yeah, and that's expensive, which is the problem we have now. That's why we're down to barbecue gas at the moment. But yeah, that's it. I'm building up a collection of gas connections.
And then moving forward, it's kind of cool. You have
a separate entrance to the aft cabin, and it's actually the best thing about that is if you have doing a barbecue, you can come straight from the galley straight up here and in and out without going through the cockpit, which sounds silly, but it's actually quite useful.
Oh, that's kind of nice. Yeah, you don't have to go around.
So you can work away and cook, and you're not around the people.
Ah, cool.
And for ventilation as well, it's quite good.
Then, I guess just a little further forward, what we got? Maybe the enclosure.
The enclosure, yeah.
You had this built, right?
Yeah, I got that built in Spain.
And because of this, we never had to wear foul weather gear once. Sailing up to 80 degrees north in the Arctic is wild. Very nice.
It's a shelter.
What do you like and not like about it?
I think it's very ugly, but it has to be. The idea of it is that when you zip these can zip off, so in sunny places that's just a bimini, and then it converts by putting these on, you convert it into a tent. But I just think it's very ugly on top of the boat, but it's highly functional, it stays for now. But I think next time I would change it slightly, have it more of a curve to it or something slightly more, or hard dodger altogether.
Yeah. I definitely enjoyed it. One thing for me was looking through the wiggly glasses. It takes something away.
It does,
Lift it up, kind of. It's a little better on the Dodger up here.
It's a harder glass.
It's a different type of material.
Yeah, that doesn't actually fold.
Okay.
Whereas this is soft. Yeah, it works.
You're thinking about doing a hard Dodger? So
I would love to. Yeah, that's one of the long list of projects that big projects. But a hard Dodger would be great. With window wipers, so you don't have to use the
The furling sail. You want to get a look at that?
Yeah.
This is the first time I was using.
So this is the first boat I've ever had it on, and I wasn't too keen on it, but at the start. But I've grown to absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. It's so easy to get the exact size sail you want for perfect balance with the rudder, not to overdo the tiller.
We use the main a lot more than I would. Like we did a lot more changes to the main than I normally would.
Because it's easier, you just press buttons.
Yeah, just buttons. The sail shape, it looks a little funny, but I didn't think it was that.
No, there's vertical battens on it, and in fairness to Kemp, they've done a really good job. They kept a positive roach, which is quite big, and so she hasn't lost too much power with the main. But it's a good enough shape. Yeah.
And then this material, at first I thought it was laminate, but it's not. It's like a fancy Dacron. Is that what it is? Like a polyester?
The polyester type.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's black, and that's cool.
SVSV. It was actually called grey, but yeah.
Oh, grey. Yeah, you can get a close up of it. It's got
you can zoom in on it.
It's like a Kevlar or something, weaver, some reinforcing. And then it rolls up on this drum, and there's an electric motor inside the mast. And then there's this thing pulls the sail out. It's a cool setup.
Easy sailing. Lazy sailing.
Was this like original with the boat, or did they?
I know the previous owner put it in about 2006. It's a whole new mast. It's a different mast than the standard one. The sail he had a straight leech, which I didn't like. So I'm glad that they could do a much bigger one with the full back. That makes a difference.
And then with the rig also, you were saying this is...
Yeah, the runners, because this is an inline spreader mast, so they don't spread further back. So you get your main out fully on downwind. It has to have runners or check stays technically involved, which come back in. But that's all to do with this pump problem I'm having with the mast at the moment. So I think I need more purchase, or else go back to the winch. So that's the winter project, is to sort this out. It's still not where I want.
So the advantage of this is that you can swing the boom out further?
Boom can come out, yeah.
Okay.
So downwind it's better. You don't get wear and tear as much on your sails from if you're...
Like, even when it's out there, it'll rub on.
Yeah, it doesn't rub at all, really, unless it's way out.
You think the trade-off is worth it? Because it seems to be causing a lot of angst.
I've had so much trouble trying to stop it from pumping. I don't. I would
It's
prefer.
more
Yeah.
It is kind of nice that all your chain plates are in one spot, though.
But you've only got one possible leak.
Yeah, only one leak, and they go in, and you can actually see them. There's no cabinetry.
No, it's perfect. You can see clear, and they're great. They seem to be way oversized, which is.
I think what we'll do is we'll do a second part, the inside tour, and we'll put that on your channel, so that people can check that.
We can do a link over.
You can see there.
Yeah. That's the spinnaker board. That's interesting to show because it's fucking massive.
Yeah. We'll do that next.
Are you recording again?
Okay. The pole.
Yeah. That's the pole that stays on the mast and it comes on a track going along here. And it's quite heavy to lift, so it's all done by pulley and rope, but it's great. And then there's a spare little telescopic one behind you.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant. It was a bit of effort to put out.
I've got the track set up on mine too, and I love it. It makes it so much easier. I could have had the pull out transfer from there to go.
So that was where we sealed the mast with Tom. Yeah, we're still having a leak somewhere, but it's an ongoing issue.
There's all these, everything is a suspect.
Possibly the hatch
problem.
itself. I don't know. That has to be lifted. I'll get there eventually.
And the teak decks, is this original?
Yeah, the teak decks, they're original, so they're 2 years old now. But they were never screwed, so they're glued from new, so they've lasted. And when I bought the boat, the caulking, which was down in the sun for about 10 years, it was just kind of left in the yard, which probably saved the decks in a way, but the caulk had dried up, so all the caulk had to come out and put in new grey ones and give her a sand, but it's due another sand this year. I think there's a bit left in it. There's one more sand.
Yeah, there's a bit thin, isn't there?
And then you'll be on to tech deck or plastic teak or something, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which would be a lot easier to clean. That's the cutter rig.
Oh yeah.
Behind you.
And we still have to get a sail made for this once you decide where you want it.
Yeah, that's it. It actually, in fairness to Kent, they've been very patient. They bought the material and they have it waiting for me to come back with sizes, but I've been playing around with it, so I'm not sure. A big problem I don't like about the furling jig is when you furl it, which we would have had for most of the higher winds, because it's such a high clew, it furls very high up, so your triangle lifts off the deck, which makes the boat a little bit unbalanced. So for heavier wind, I wanted this with a deck sweeping type jib, so when it furls, it'll be much lower and a better balance, basically, easier to steer. So that's in. Measurements are still ongoing, but we'll get there eventually.
That's interesting. We did maybe like 1 or 2 taps the whole way. Usually we would, I guess the way the wind was, it would come and go, so we never really get much tacking. Do you have to roll the sail in the tack with it?
It's easier, or else come up and run around. But in general, it's easier because it does cause a problem. It's for and against everything. So.
Yeah, right.
It's a big sail to try and get around that.
Yeah. And then how do you like the Delta?
Delta's good. The first time I've had any trouble with it was in Longyearbyen when we were on anchor watch.
I kept getting fouled on
the kelp a lot. Yeah.
So much. It's the most kelp I've ever seen come up on an anchor.
Yeah. I need a machete or something. But no, otherwise it's really quite good. It's only 25 kg, so I would like a bit heavier, but between that and the chain, if the wind ever fails, that's kind of a worry I have. It's a hard day's work to pull up a bigger anchor with all that chain, so I've been slow to replace it, but eventually maybe.
Yeah.
If it slips.
So you have 2 rollers, could you fit? You couldn't really fit 2 anchors on that.
No, they wouldn't fit.
What's the point of having 2?
Mooring ropes or
just for
something like that. Spare.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But the anchor still needs to come off for mooring, so it's a bit more. I'd like to do something with the front end to change that.
Don't you just go through the shocks when you mooring?
No, too small for mooring rope.
A little small.
So I'd like to. I want to put in a bowsprit as well for the shoot, so there's a bit of work to be done there too. Another project. This is my greatest find on eBay.
Yeah, eBay is good for selling stuff.
Yeah, so it's a new Carver furler for the cruising shoot when I get a bowsprit on, which then stops you having to use the sock and pull it up and down, and it makes it a lot easier to use, and the easier something is to use, the more likely you are. So
yeah, that was even with the sock and everything. It was very
swinging out of it. So.
We need a lot of motivation to get the.
Yeah, and you just say no. Whereas
so
if it's up there like a
pearl, you'd actually use it.
Yeah, you're more likely to use it. So I was delighted when I found that on eBay. So I said I have a couple of more bits to get for it. and then a torsion rope and a boat sorted, so I'll get there eventually.
Do you have to change anything on the sail, like itself, to
No,
put those on?
it'll go around the torsion rope.
around the
It's all about the rope. So, there's a removable inner forestay which I really like. It just ratchets off and it clips onto the front just behind the
How's that work?
the big furling. You just go plus or minus, so if you ratchet away it'll loosen up.
And then you have to.
And you pull it out, yeah, and you put it in the front. And then you can tighten up again. But you get a Solent type rig, which is a stay just behind the forestay, so you can get a fairly good number 4 flat jib on it, which I actually have one for it. And it also it acts like a spare forestay if I ever need it. So I really like that because it goes to almost just below the top of the mast, so it's quite a nice feature to have.
All right, the cockpit. Still up in here?
Yeah, these 2 seats are the nice hidden ones. It's quite a good. I like centre cockpits. It's a bit away from the sea. You feel a bit safer. You can close by the tent. The track for the main is outside, which is nice because sometimes they go through the.
Yeah, I had my Swedish fish had that, and it was quite annoying.
It's quite annoying, especially when your head gets stuck in it. No, this is quite good. It's a huge wheel, which is far and against it, but it's a lot easier to sit on the side on a nice day to trim. You can sit right out.
Yeah,
and you can see it, so it's good.
it's hard to get around.
But yeah, it's a bit hard to get around.
I'm not a fan of the wheels, but I do like that you get the binnacle, so you can grab onto that and put some instruments and stuff on there.
Yeah, there's a bit of changes I want to do there as well. So
I was kind of judgmental of anybody who has a wind instrument because I feel like you can feel it and know what speed and where it's coming from. But then when you have it finally enclosed, it all made sense because you got no idea what the wind's really doing when you're completely enclosed in here.
That's the only thing about these tents. You're very isolated from the elements, which is good. But you don't. You don't sense it as you would out in the open.
And we were talking about earlier how, like, in the center, it feels like the boat's much shorter, and then you forget you have all this behind you plus the dinghy
coming into it. It feels a lot smaller when you're already whatever it is 15 feet up. So you do forget. A couple of times I've hopped the dinghy off marina posts and stuff. So you forget to look back. To continue watching the rest of that boat tour video I did with Ed, click on the link. It'll be like around here or in the description somewhere for part 2. We go and looked at the inside of the boat. And then in my next video, YouTube video, I'll be back on pickled herring. I just got back yesterday, and we'll continue sailing on into the Baltic. I think the next video I have be like doing some of the paragliding stuff. And then from there, I'm gonna sail up the east coast of Sweden, maybe Bornholm Island, and then over to Västervik to visit Sven, and then up to Stockholm, maybe Finland, Estonia. I don't know, we'll see. Just kind of going with what works out with the wind and weather. So that's kind of the rough plan. I'll see you guys next time.